Reframe what it means to stand in your authentic truth from I'm going to be different, this is out of the norm, these are beliefs I've never shared before. Really view it instead as an opportunity to be the light in the room. What I mean by being the light is to be the embodiment of transformation, of higher perspective, of love, of potential, connectedness, whatever it is that's aligned with your authenticity. As you are transforming, stepping into your power as a co-creator and aligning with your most authentic self, do you find it difficult to lean into your new state of being around unconscious family members, friend groups, or even colleagues? Do you omit your truth, shrink back into past behaviors, or subscribe to old narratives out of fear of judgment, criticism, or losing connections? You are not alone. These moments offer pivotal points for growth. I'm Crystal Fox. I'm the Conscious Living Coach here at You Transformed. In this video, I'm going to be providing guidance on how to be your authentic self around unconscious family members and friends. I'm going to be diving into the underlying motivation of what is actually stopping you from standing in your truth, and also what's actually fueling the lack of acceptance, criticism, and judgment that you might be receiving. We'll go into actions that you can take when faced with an opportunity to stand in your truth, and what you can do when you're met with contrast. When you are transforming at the deepest level, you are the embodiment of the caterpillar turned butterfly. And even though this is such a beautiful metamorphosis, you won't always be met with awe. Sometimes you'll be met with fear, both internally and externally. Some common internal fears are fear of not being accepted, of losing connections, of being judged or criticized. Our own fear can show up like omitting our truth, agreeing to old narratives simply to fit the mold, or shrinking back into past behaviors. Others' fear can show up as judgment, criticism, or lack of acceptance. Their fears are surrounding being met with the unfamiliar, with shifts outside of their paradigm, and also with losing the connection. That's right, in some cases, there is a shared fear here of losing the connection. It's just expressed in different ways. So when leaning into your authentic self around unconscious family members and friends, we really want to become aware of when fear is presenting itself. I like to use the triple threat when it comes to fear: detach, disassociate, disempower. You can detach by simply scaling back and observing the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors when fear arises within yourself. The awareness on this alone disempowers the fear in the moment. It's also incredibly helpful to remember that fear is false evidence appearing real. It is not your truth. Really ask yourself in these moments, who am I being when I'm caving to fear? And is this my truth? This can really help at identifying fear and really disempowering it. Additionally, your authenticity is your light. Reframe what it means to stand in your authentic truth from I'm going to be different, this is out of the norm, these are beliefs I've never shared before. Really view it instead as an opportunity to be the light in the room. What I mean by being the light is to be the embodiment of transformation, of higher perspective, of love, of potential, connectedness, whatever it is that's aligned with your authenticity. Don't be afraid to be the first to light up in the room. These opportunities present themselves in various ways. For me, it presented itself the other day on a Zoom call with my family for my dad's birthday. The conversation quickly turned to how awful 2020 was, fear around COVID, around the years to come, and this is a narrative that I don't subscribe to. And so I saw this as an opportunity to be the light, also known as stand in my truth. And in this moment, what that looked like was me adding to the conversation that this has actually been the best year of my life, and that although it's been a really intense one for the collective, that great things have come out of it, and that great things will continue to come out of it. And that this is what breakthroughs look like, the crumbling of the old, making way for the new. And so in this moment, I was the embodiment of higher perspective and of love and potential. And I was standing firmly in my truth in a loving way. Perhaps being the light and standing in your authenticity might look like soaring beyond limiting beliefs, stepping onto a new path entirely and openly sharing your experience of what is possible with others. It might look like showing empathy as opposed to gossiping, or extending compassion in place of judgment. It could be shining a higher perspective on a circumstance. There's lots of different ways to express your authenticity. How can you embody your light next time you're around unconscious family members and friends? You'll actually come to find that the more that you take off your mask and let your light shine, the more others resonate with you, and you'll be surprised at the conversations that you'll have with someone that you never thought would be possible, simply by being bold and lovingly taking off your mask. The more that you love and accept yourself as well, the more that it's going to reflect in your outer world. Allow yourself to rise and allow others to rise with you. And we do that when we take off our mask. A really helpful thing to do as well in these moments is to focus on the now present moment, not on the outcome. Oftentimes, we get so caught up in the anxiety of the outcome. We create stories, we assume the worst. We set the expectation for contrast. And really, there are only 3 outcomes when we stand in our truth. The first is that we are going to expand in tandem with our other connections. This is, of course, best case scenario and the one that we are always hoping for in our closest of relationships. The second outcome is that they love and accept your growth and transformation, and although they're not on the same page or wavelength, there's room for you to be who you are and room for them to be who they are, because the relationship is rooted in love and respect. This is, of course, another really great outcome as well. The third outcome is that the relationship falls away, or there's a loving detachment and distance that's placed there. It's the monkey mind that really wants to prepare for these outcomes, though, and to plan and protect. And when the anxiety sets in, it's really a feeling of lack that's driving it. It's the thought of, I won't be able to handle it if, I'm not accepted, or if I don't have the support, or if I lose this connection. So don't place your focus here, because focusing on the outcome is actually what's going to create more frenetic energy and really allow for you to cave into fear. In truth, you have all the tools you need to handle anything right now in the now present moment. Let the outcome unfold as it will. And as it unfolds, you will naturally have the tools to handle it in those moments. Be vigilant about catching the mind when it's too focused on the outcome, also known as the future, and bring yourself back into the now present moment. This is going to help a lot of the anxiety dissipate. When you are met with contrast, send love. Okay, you're like, Crystal, I've done all these things and I'm still being met with contrast. You don't know my mother. You don't know my family. A few key things to remember when faced with contrast is that you can stay rooted in your authenticity and you can reflect love and support back. You don't have to meet someone where they're at. And oftentimes what people want is, when they're coming at you from a place of fear, they want you to meet them there, but you don't have to. The choice is really always yours, and you can stay rooted in love and reflect support back to them. You don't have to get sucked in. There are those relationships that will gradually fall away when you expand. And then there are some connections that we're unable to sever completely. These are the family ties and whatnot. But if you're facing contrast with a deeply rooted connection, lovingly detach and create some space there. It's really good to keep in mind and remember that we're all on different journeys, learning different things at different times, and we all have fears to work through. What you can do is to send love energetically to this connection. We have a video on this in the You Transformed community. We will drop the link below for you. This is so incredibly powerful, though. Love is stronger than any fear. It illuminates any darkness. So continuously send love to this connection and give them the time to work through their fears. You can also send love to your fear as you begin to observe it more by detaching, disassociating, and disempowering. When you feel it coming up within you, just set the intention. It's real quick and easy. You can do it. Set the intention to send love to that part of yourself. So an example of it would be, if you feel it coming up, a fear about not being accepted. I send love to the part of myself that is fearing a lack of acceptance. And it's got a 100% success rate. Try it out. Last but not least, have trust in the process and in your path. Know that connections that are falling away aren't meant to be on your new path. The ones that are will stay. And the ones that you have to lovingly create distance with actually help to expand and grow the other person as well. A lot of the fear and anxiety comes from a lack of trust in the unknown. Trust in the unfolding and let the divine surprise you. I'll be back soon with another video. Until then, I encourage you to be the light in the room.